Millionaire stops in front of a homeless woman and says, "You're my mom." When the DNA results come in, the sun dipped low over Mexico City, stretching golden beams across a bustling street corner where the pulse of urban life throbbed. Cars honked and people dashed, their faces a blur of expressions: agony, joy, determination. But amid this whirlpool of ambition and noise, a moment froze in time. Lucas, a billionaire entrepreneur with an empire built on sharp decisions and wobbly choices, abruptly stopped before Clara. She sat quietly, her many layers of weathered fabric a stark contrast to his crisply tailored suit. Clara was a ghost of shadows and echoes, her tawny skin worn from years of battles fought on unforgetting streets. Lucas felt an unshakable grip of recognition. An invisible string jerked at his heart. "You are my mother," he exclaimed, the words slicing through the evening hum like a knife, sending ripples through the crowd. Gasps ricocheted off the concrete. A life long buried beneath the rubble of addiction and loss suddenly resurfaced. "¿Qué dices?" Clara gasped, her voice trembling, a mix of hope and fear swirling in the air. The city buzzed around them, a cacophony punctuating her whispered questions. She squinted, searching for truth in his eyes, her heart pounding like a drum. Could it be? In the shadows, Elsa, Lucas's fiercely ambitious wife, observed, an ice-cold tension radiating from her. She felt the ground shift beneath her perfectly polished heels. This revelation threatened everything: the wealth, the status, their carefully curated life. Her expression hardened, mirroring the disdain of the others who passed, many casting judgment on the scene unfolding before them. Whispers floated in the air, laughter mingling with scorn. "Another publicity stunt," someone snickered. But this wasn't just a headline. It was raw and chaotic. Lucas felt his world tilt. The question swirled in his mind: who was he really? His chest tightened. The weight of this recognition loomed large. A son meeting a mother, or perhaps a con man who found a target? The DNA test loomed ahead like a dark cloud threatening a storm. Would it confirm Clara's claim or unravel years of half-truths? "Please," Clara murmured, her voice hardened by years of mistrust. And yet there was this flicker of yearning, a glimmer of hope that perhaps she wasn't wholly forgotten. The city around them continued its relentless pace, oblivious to the seismic shift taking place at that corner. Electricity buzzed in the air, and with every heartbeat, the suspense grew. What would the results say? Would this encounter bridge a chasm decades wide, or widen it further? As Clara searched Lucas's face for answers, the universe seemed to pause, leaving only uncertainty swirling between them. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're here, hit that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Clara searched Lucas's eyes, her heart a wild drumbeat as the world blurred around them. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, a loud explosion jolted the air. The ground shook, pieces of concrete kicked up like confetti. People screamed, their faces morphing from shock to panic. A nearby car alarm shrieked, slicing through the sudden chaos. "What was that?" Lucas shouted, pulling Clara close. His polished shoes crunched on shattered glass, the signs of a normal day turned into chaos. Another roar echoed, louder this time, more violent. Clara's heart pounded, but this time it was not just from fear, it was from something deeper, a buried recognition. In the whirlwind of confusion, a figure emerged from the cloud of dust and smoke. From the shadows, a man staggered forward, his clothes singed, a wild look in his eyes, the very image of despair. "Lucas," the man croaked. Voice hoarse and desperate. The crowd fell silent, the air thick with tension. "It's me, your brother." The words landed like lead bricks. Lucas's brows shot up, disbelief etched across his face. "What are you talking about?" he gasped, glancing sideways at Clara, whose expression mirrored the shock reflected in the crowd. "I don't have a brother." But the man pushed through the stunned onlookers, his face smeared with dirt, framing hollow eyes that seemed to echo years of suffering. "You were taken from her," he shouted, pointing a finger at Clara, desperation oozing from his every pore. "I was left behind." Clara's breath hitched. Years of loss tunneled into that single moment. Memories flooded back. A small boy clutching her leg, pleading with a supposed family friend. "Mauro?" she whispered, voice trembling with both hope and confusion. "Is that really you?" Lucas's mind raced. He turned sharply, scanning the distance, as if expecting some truth to drop from the sky. Whispers erupted from the crowd, rising and falling like waves. "This is a publicity stunt," someone hissed, shoving through the masses, eyeing the drama with indifference. But the eyes around them remained glued to the scene, a mixture of fascination and disbelief. "It's the truth," Mauro cried, eyes blazing with pain. "I watched you, always from afar. She never stopped looking for you, Lucas. This," he gestured wide, "this life you have is built on lies." "Get away from her!" Elsa burst forth, her voice sharp and cold. She pushed Lucas back, her body tense and poised, ready to protect the carefully constructed world they had built. The ferocity in her eyes startled him. There was something deeply unsettling about her reaction. Why was she so threatened? Mauro grabbed Clara's hand, his desperation palpable. "You must believe me. I have proof." He fished something from his pocket, a necklace delicately woven with intricate charms. "This was yours, Mom. I've held onto it all these years." Clara's breath caught in her throat. Recognition washed over her like a wave. The necklace glimmered, and suddenly the memories came flooding back. Laughter and warmth, bright days illuminated by a child's smile. Was she really seeing her long-lost son? Lucas's heart raced, each beat a reminder of everything hanging in the balance. "This doesn't make sense," he shouted, his voice cracking. Around him, the crowd murmured, glances shifting, whispers of scandals swirling. The DNA test loomed ahead, but now it felt like a ticking time bomb. Would the truth reunite them, or would it expose everything they had built? The reality standing before him felt distorted, and every layer he thought he understood peeled away. As Clara reached for the necklace, Lucas felt the ground beneath him tremble again. His world was crumbling, and the uncertainty clawed at his insides. Was he really living the truth? Or had he been a puppet in someone else's twisted play? The tension crackled around them, questions flooding the air like smoke. Who was he, really? And what other secrets lay buried in the shadows they were only beginning to uncover? Lucas's heart raced, each beat echoing the chaos around him. Clara's trembling fingers brushed the necklace as emotions collided. Mauro's impassioned cries hung heavy in the air, and the crowd shifted, a living entity drawn into the drama. "Lucas, please listen." Mauro's voice cracked, desperation palpable. But before anything more could be said, another explosion roared through the city streets, shaking the earth beneath their feet. People screamed, and in the distance, a cloud of dust rose again, thickening the atmosphere. But just as Lucas turned to check on Clara, a chilling revelation emerged from the shadows, from the edges of the crowd, and the moment he spoke, silence fell like a heavy weight. "Lucas," he called, his tone commanding. You need to know the truth about your mother and about yourself. Lucas squinted, confusion etching deeper into his brow. Who the hell are you? I am Enrique, the man replied. Your father. Gasps erupted within the gathering crowd. Clara's face turned pale, eyes locking onto the stranger. No, you're lying. Her voice trembled, a mixture of fury and disbelief. Enrique held his ground. Undeterred, I've watched from afar, regretted every moment I let you go. His voice softened. Your life has been a lie. It's time to face the truth. Lucas's vision blurred, the world spinning. What? You're my father? You left us? The crowd buzzed with confusion. Questions hung heavy in the air, an unsolved riddle. Was this another con? Murmurs of disbelief turned into heated debates. He's trying to scam him, someone shouted from the back, shaking their head. But Lucas felt something else. A pull, a connection he couldn't dismiss. Clara's hands trembled as she grasped the necklace even tighter, memories flooding in, but bitterly tainted. What do you want, Enrique? The pain radiated from her voice. It was raw. I want us to be a family again, Enrique asserted, stepping closer. They took you away, Lucas. They hid you from me. Together, if we examine the past, we'll find answers. His eyes locked onto Lucas's, a desperate hope radiating from them. But something in Lucas recoiled from that hope. You left me, didn't you? He shot back, anger bubbling up. You didn't come back for us. I grew up without a father, without a mother. Clara's expression twisted, her breath caught in her throat. You think I wanted this life? She gestured to her tattered clothes, her surroundings. You don't know what it was like. You were taken away from me. Tears filled her eyes. Before the tension could build further, a loud crack pierced the air, followed by an electric hiss. The crowd froze, mouths agape. A city bus nearby erupted in flames, shards of metal flying like shrapnel through the air. Chaos resumed. People screamed, scattering like leaves caught in a whirlwind. Lucas's instincts kicked in. He pushed Clara and Mauro away, shielding them both from the fiery explosion. We need to get out of here, he yelled, pushing through the crowd. But as he looked back at Enrique, he saw something shift. The man's face twisted, a grim satisfaction etched into his features. And just then, a chilling thought struck Lucas like a lightning bolt. Was this all part of a bigger game? Was Enrique truly his father? Or was he hiding something even darker? Questions spiraled in his mind as the dust settled, and screams echoed around them. He couldn't trust anyone, not even the people he thought he knew. The truth felt elusive, tangled in a web of lies and deceit. Would he ever escape this world of secrets? The flames flickered, illuminating shocked faces. Shadows danced around them. What would come next? Lucas felt his heart pound, a heavy weight pressing on his chest. The crowd surged around them, a chaotic dance of fear and confusion. Flames flickered, shadows twisting in the haze. All around him, the air crackled with panic. Get everyone to safety, he yelled, pulling Clara and Mauro close. He could barely think over the sound of sirens wailing in the distance. What was happening? He looked back at Enrique, who remained eerily calm amidst the chaos, almost as if he thrived on it. But just then, as the smoke drifted towards the sky, a figure stepped out of the crowd, and the world around Lucas shattered again. It was a woman, dressed in black, her long hair cascading around her shoulders like a dark waterfall. Lucas squinted, trying to make sense of it. She stepped forward, eyes locked onto him with a fierce intensity. "Lucas!" she shouted, her voice cut through the noise. "Who are you?" he gasped, almost yelling. He felt the ground beneath him quiver again, each step she took sending tremors of uncertainty through him. "I'm your sister," she declared, her words ringing out like a gunshot. The crowd gasped, murmurs rising like a tide. "I don't have a sister," he spat back, torn between anger and disbelief. but she shook her head, fury and desperation blending in her eyes. "You do! My name is Valentina. I've been looking for you for years." The reality hit Lucas like a ton of bricks. The threads of his life were unraveling one by one, revealing deep and hidden truths. Clara clutched the necklace tighter, confusion and recognition mingling in her expression. "What is going on?" Clara cried, her voice choked with emotion. Her eyes flicked between the two strangers, tension etched across her face. "Is this true? Are you really his sister?" Valentina nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I will prove it. There's a reason for all this." She fished in her pocket, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper. "A letter. I found it after the—" Her voice broke, emotion overwhelming her. "After they took you both from her." The mention of "they" sent a chill through the air, as if the very word summoned shadows of the past. The crowd shifted, their expressions morphing from shock to intrigue. Whispers rippled through the masses, uncertainty clawing at the edges of calm. "Get away from us!" Elsa pushed forward, her voice sharp, eyes filled with fire. "This is nonsense, a mere trick." But Valentina, undeterred, stepped closer to Lucas. "You need to know the truth. Mom didn't abandon you. She was forced to give you away." The air felt thick. Lucas, torn between disbelief and something deeper, a smoldering desire for connection, could not look away. "What do you mean?" he asked, voice trembling. Valentina took a breath. They were part of a trafficking ring. They took you both. Mom fought to get you back, but it was too late." Hung heavy, a shroud of despair pooling around them. Lucas's heart raced. Empty spaces in his memory, filled with foggy, distorted images. Clara's eyes widened, horror etched across her face. "No, that can't be," she whispered, her voice frail. But every person in the gathering could feel the weight of truth crackling in the air. Somewhere, somehow, secrets were buried deeper than anyone had ever imagined. Just as Lucas began to comprehend the enormity of it, another tremor shook the ground, this time louder, more violent, as if the city itself protested. The pavement beneath them cracked, debris raining down. Panicking people ran in all directions, the chaos escalating to chaos. But then, from behind Valentina, a figure emerged, someone Lucas recognized. It was his childhood friend, Carmen, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Lucas," she screamed, breathless. "You're in danger. They're coming for you." A scream pierced the tumult, and Lucas felt the world tilt. "Who?" he shouted, but Carmen's eyes held a mix of fear and urgency. "Just trust me," she cried, trying to push through the throng. "It's not safe here." The crowd roared, confusion and fear tearing at the edges of reality. Secrets worth more than gold were about to be unveiled. Lucas's mind raced, the pieces of this fractured puzzle sparking like fireworks in the dark. He looked around, desperation clawing at his insides. "What do I do?" he thought. But the truth was, with everything he thought he knew crumbling, he could only take one fateful step into the unknown. Lucas felt his heart pound, a heavy weight pressing on his chest. The crowd surged around them, a chaotic dance of fear and confusion. Flames flickered, shadows twisting in the haze. All around him, the air crackled with panic. "Get everyone to safety," he yelled, pulling Clara and Mauro close. His thoughts spun in a whirlwind. What was happening? He looked back at Enrique, who remained eerily calm amidst the chaos, almost as if he thrived on it. But just then, as the smoke drifted toward the sky, a figure stepped out of the crowd, and the world around Lucas shattered again. It was a woman. Dressed in black, her long hair cascading around her shoulders like a dark waterfall. Lucas squinted, trying to make sense of it. She stepped forward, eyes locked onto him with fierce intensity. "Lucas!" she shouted. Her voice cut through the noise. "Who are you?" he gasped. The ground beneath him quivered again, each step she took sending tremors of uncertainty through him. "I'm your sister," she declared, her words ringing out like a gunshot. The crowd gasped, murmurs rising like a tide. "I don't have a sister," he spat back, torn between anger and disbelief. But she shook her head, fury and desperation blending in her eyes. "You do. My name is Valentina. I've been looking for you for years." The reality hit Lucas like a ton of bricks. The threads of his life were unraveling one by one, revealing deep and hidden truths. Clara clutched the necklace tighter, confusion and recognition mingling in her expression. "What is going on?" Clara cried, her voice choked with emotion. Her eyes flicked between the two strangers, tension etched across her face. "Is this true? Are you really his sister?" Valentina nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I will prove it. There's a reason for all this." She fished in her pocket, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper. A letter. "I found it after the..." Her voice broke, emotion overwhelming her. "After they took you both from her." The mention of "they" sent a chill through the air, as if the very word summoned shadows of the past. The crowd shifted, their expressions morphing from shock to intrigue. "Get away from us," Elsa pushed forward, her voice sharp, eyes filled with fire. "This is nonsense, a mere trick." But Valentina, undeterred, stepped closer to Lucas. "You need to know the truth. Mom didn't abandon you. She was forced to give you away." The air felt thick. Lucas, torn between disbelief and something deeper, a smoldering desire for connection, could not look away. "What do you mean?" he asked, voice trembling. Valentina took a breath. They were part of a trafficking ring. They took you both. Mom fought to get you back, but it was too late." The words hung heavy, a shroud of despair pooling around them. Lucas's heart raced. Empty spaces in his memory filled with foggy, distorted images. Clara's eyes widened, horror etched across her face. "No, that can't be," she whispered, her voice frail. But every person in the gathering could feel the weight of truth crackling in the air. Somewhere, somehow, secrets were buried deeper than anyone had ever imagined. Just as Lucas began to comprehend the enormity of it, another tremor shook the ground, this time louder, more violent, as if the city itself protested. The pavement beneath them cracked, debris raining down. Panicking people ran in all directions, the chaos escalating to a fever pitch. But suddenly, out of the turmoil, a powerful gust of wind swept through the square, swirling around Lucas like an invisible hand. Before he could blink, a figure stepped from the shadows behind Valentina, an older man dressed in a tattered suit, his hair wild and eyes fierce. "Lucas," the man bellowed, voice booming with authority. "Who are you?" Lucas demanded, feeling his heart twist with confusion. "I'm Alvaro," he shouted. "Your true father." The crowd gasped collectively, shock rippling through them. Lucas felt his world tilt, each word crashing against the foundations of everything he thought he knew. "No," he cried, shaking his head, trying to fight the truth that echoed in the air. "You can't be." "Don't you see?" Alvaro insisted. "You are the heir to a legacy, not just of wealth, but of a family torn apart. They stole you from us, Lucas, both of you." The panic in the crowd turned into an electric buzz, questioning everything, disbelief etched on every face. Clara stood frozen, the necklace slipping from her grasp, falling to the ground with a metallic thud. "No," she whispered, trembling, her eyes darting between Lucas and the stranger. This can't be true, but Lucas's heart raced, grasping at the threads of reality as the pieces began to intertwine. "What do you mean, stolen?" His voice was barely a whisper, afraid of what the truth would reveal. "Everything you've known has been a lie." Alvaro stepped closer, the urgency pulsing through his words. "The man you call father," he pointed to Enrique, whose expression was twisted in shock, "is not your real father at all. He's the orchestrator of your separation. Gasps erupted, confusion spiraling into terror among the crowd. Lucas felt his knees weaken. Questions raced through his mind. Who do I believe? What is the truth? In that moment, the earth trembled again. But this time it felt different, almost alive. The whispers of the past, entwined with the present, a cacophony of secrets begging to surface. What lay ahead was a tangled web of lies and revelations. As screams echoed in a distant chorus, Lucas braced himself for what came next. Would he unravel the truth, or would it trap him forever? Lucas felt his knees weaken. Questions raced through his mind. Who do I believe? What is the truth? Just as these thoughts battled for supremacy in his mind, the ground trembled again, this time more violently, shaking everyone to their core. A mighty crack echoed through the air, a deafening sound, as though the heavens themselves were splitting apart. Dust and debris rained down like the sky was coming to claim them. A panicked mob surged, pushing against each other, faces reflecting shock and disbelief. Clara stumbled, her grip on Lucas tightening. "What's happening?" she yelled over the chaos, fear weaving through her words. "I don't know," Lucas shouted back, trying to keep his eyes on Valentina and Alvaro amidst the growing confusion. But suddenly, from the edge of the crowd, a massive truck barreled forth. Its horn blaring, tires screeching, lights flashing ominously as it careened toward them. "Run!" Lucas yelled, instinctively pushing Clara and Mauro away, just as the truck barreled into the square, caught in the frenzy of panic. Time slowed. Lucas felt his heart race, each beat pulsing against the urgency of survival. As he leapt to the side, dodging the truck, he glimpsed Enrique's expression shifting from shock to something darker. "Necesitamos detenerlo," he shouted, his voice cutting through the screams. But it was too late. Everything was happening too fast. The truck swerved, crashing through the barriers of the square, metal grinding against concrete. And with an ear-splitting crash, it collided with a nearby vendor's stall, sending fruits and goods flying through the air like confetti in a storm. The scene was unreal, chaotic, frightening, a movie playing too fast. "Lucas!" Valentina screamed, trying to reach him through the throng, but he lost sight of her. He felt Clara tugging at his arm, panic etched on her face. "Keep moving," he urged, leading them through the scattering crowd. There was a desperate energy, something primal thrumming beneath the panic. Just as they emerged from the sea of chaos, the air shifted again, different this time. A loud bang erupted from the truck, flames bursting forth in a brilliant orange tongue, licking the air hungrily. People screamed, scattering like startled birds. Lucas pulled Clara close, shielding them both with his body. But then, through the smoke, something incredible happened. A figure appeared, surrounded by the chaos, illuminated by the blaze. A woman, almost ethereal, her hair glistening like embers, approaching with a grace that contrasted with the fear around her. "Lucas, it's me," she shouted, her voice ringing clear. In that moment, recognition struck like lightning. "I found you." Lucas's heart raced in shock. "Isabella? How?" But before he could finish, the flames erupted in a violent burst, obscuring his line of sight. Everything felt unreal, twisting in ways he couldn't fathom. "Are you really here?" he called, desperate for a response. As he pushed forward, everything exploded. The urgency shifted. Amid the raindrops of debris, a deeper truth began to surface. Isabella's eyes glinted with an urgency of their own, and she pointed behind him. "Behind you!" In an instant, Lucas spun, only to find Enrique stalking toward him, eyes wild with a mixture of fury and desperation. "It's time for you to know everything," he yelled, voice echoing in the chaos. But then, without warning, everything shattered again. A sudden flash erupted from the truck. Just when Lucas braced for another calamity, an enormous blast knocked him off his feet. The world spun in bursts of color, red, then orange, then dark. As Lucas lay there, dazed, a shadow moved over him. He blinked, capturing fleeting glimpses of faces, the pain in Clara's eyes, the determination in Valentina's gaze, the cold dread in Mauro's expression. But was that fear or something else? In the haze, a secret smoldered, one Lucas had yet to uncover. What had they all been hiding, he wondered? Why had everything spiraled into chaos? Each moment felt like a wounded memory, layered with unanswered questions. Just when Lucas thought he'd grasped the truth, the burning wreckage of the truck illuminated something in the shadows. A small box. It glinted ominously, drawing a deeper curiosity within him. What was it? Was it a clue? A part of the hidden puzzle they were all piecing together? As he fought to regain his bearings, the ground beneath him rattled with the weight of unresolved destinies and a lingering uncertainty that would stir once more. "Lucas, we need to go," Clara shouted, snapping him back as their fate danced precariously on the edge of the unseen. But just like that, a new shadow loomed larger, a figure emerging from the chaos with a familiar smile, a smirk that threatened to disrupt the fragile thread holding everything together. And with that, Lucas felt an icy chill creeping down his spine. Would he ever understand the depth of their secrets? Or was this just the beginning of a much darker ride? Lucas felt an icy chill creeping down his spine. The smirk on the figure's face tightened the knot of dread already gnawing at him. But before he could process the turmoil, the flames roared higher, casting flickering shadows around them. In an instant, everything, with the flames dancing around, he realized who it was. A face he thought he'd buried in the depths of memory. A woman he once trusted. Someone who had vanished from his life. "Valeria?" He breathed, disbelief crashing over him like a wave. "You? I thought you were gone." She stepped into the flickering light, a strange serenity on her face. "I had to come back, Lucas. They can't keep us apart anymore." Her eyes sparkled with a mix of mischief and unexplainable pain. Time froze as Lucas tried to grasp the enormity of her return. "What do you mean?" Panic bubbled in his chest. "What's happening? What's going on with all of this?" Then, another explosion rocked the ground beneath him. This one was different, more controlled, almost intentional. Sparks shot up like fireworks, illuminating the chaos. Lucas barely registered it. He was lost in Valeria's gaze, torn between joy and terror. "I know everything," she said softly, "and you deserve the truth. We were never safe. They've been watching us, Lucas," she whispered urgently, glancing around, her voice dropping to a near hush as if the flames could listen. "You're the key to everything, the key to our family's legacy." "What are you talking about?" Lucas felt as if his feet were sinking into quicksand, grasping desperately for solid ground. "They took us because of who you are," she continued. "You don't just belong to Clara or Enrique. You are much more than that. You've been manipulated all this time." She stepped closer, her hand reaching for his. But then he recoiled. "Manipulated? By who? What are you hiding?" Doubt twisted in his gut. Was this your plan all along? Before she could respond, another figure emerged from the smoke, a man in a tailored suit, face partially hidden by the haze. "Valeria, stop!" he commanded, his voice firm. "Javier!" Valeria spat, anger twisting her features. "You're not supposed to be here." Lucas's heart raced. "Who is he?" he demanded, sensing the tension crackle in the air. "He's my husband," Valeria shot back, defiance sparking in her eyes. "And he's the one who set everything in motion. Everything that's been happening to you." The revelation hit like a punch in the gut. "What?" It felt like the ground beneath him was fracturing. "You brought him into this?" "I did what I had to do," she retorted, shaking her head. "To protect you. To protect us." Javier stepped forward, hands raised as if trying to diffuse the fury. "Lucas, you must listen. We need to get out of here now." Chaos erupted anew as the crowd panicked, more explosions echoing in the distance. With a thunderous roar, a second truck, laden with crates and goods, barreled through the outskirts of the square, crashing into the lights, plunging them into darkness. "Quick, this way!" Lucas felt Valeria grab his hand, her grip firm. They hurried away from the chaos, maneuvering through fallen debris and shocked onlookers. But as they ran, fear and uncertainty gnawed at him. "What did you mean I'm the key?" Lucas shouted, trying to make sense of everything. "What did my life really mean?" "Your father left clues," Valeria began, trying to keep pace. A sharp crack rang out. The air changed, spinning on its axis. Lucas stopped dead in his tracks, feeling lightheaded as he looked back towards Javier. "Wait," he demanded, realization hitting him hard. "You knew, didn't you? You knew who I really was all along, didn't you?" But just as Valeria opened her mouth to answer, the ground beneath them quaked again. Only this time, the fissures spread wide, deepening into chasms like dark secrets ripping through the earth. The very foundation of their lives was breaking apart. As dust swirled around them like sorrowful whispers, Lucas, caught between disbelief and hope, felt the truth sink in deeper. What were they running from? What pivoting mystery lay ahead, waiting to ensnare them all? Questions haunted him like shadows, a flicker of dread coiling inside. He grasped Valeria's hand tightly, feeling the warmth of a past laced with secrets. But would uncovering those secrets lead to liberation, or was it destined to consume them whole? Lucas felt the tension in the air heavy like a storm cloud about to burst. The ground quaked beneath him, mirroring the chaos in his heart. Valeria's presence was both a comfort and a terrifying puzzle. He could hardly process the truth of who she was, or what Javier's role meant. The flames danced around them, a chaotic backdrop to the emotions surging forth. "Listen," Valeria urged, her voice urgent. "We don't have much time if we stay here." Another explosion rattled the ground, dust and smoke choking their surroundings. Lucas tightened his grip on Valeria's hand. "What do you mean about a legacy? What if—" But before he could finish, a new sound cut through the chaos, an unmistakable crack like thunder. It was not the buildings collapsing, nor the frightened shouts of the crowd. The ground split open, a gaping chasm appearing where Lucas stood. His heart sank as he felt the world around him tilt. "Jump!" he yelled, pulling Clara and Mauro away, but it was too late. The ground beneath Javier shifted violently. "Help!" he screamed, arms flailing as the earth swallowed him whole. The sight of every face around him twisted in horror was etched in Lucas's mind. Valeria gasped, a hand flying to her mouth. Then everything changed. In the blink of an eye, another figure leaped into the opening. Enrique. "No!" he bellowed, lunging for Javier. The two men, once separated by years of deception, now wrestled in the very chasm that threatened to consume them. "Lucas!" Valeria shouted, her eyes wide with despair. "They're not who you think!" Before he could comprehend her words, the sky flickered with an odd light, like the calm before an electric storm. "What do you mean?" Lucas yelled, trying to keep his fear at bay. "Who are you talking about?" "The truth," Valeria cried, "isn't what you've been led to believe. There's a reason they took you." A bizarre hush fell over the area. Gasps replaced screams as the crowd watched, frozen. Lucas felt exposed, as if the world's gaze was peeling back the layers of his life. His heart raced. "What truth?" he demanded. "Tell me." As if in answer, the air shimmered, distorting everything, and then, in a blinding flash, an image materialized, a memory long buried. In it, he saw himself as a child, vibrant and full of life, surrounded by laughter. but mixed within those bright colors were darker shapes, figures he couldn't quite recognize. "See?" Valeria whispered urgently, her voice cutting through the fog. "You were brought into something bigger, a plan that was already set in motion." Suddenly, the light shifted again, illuminating Clara's face. Her eyes widened in panic, but there was something else: recognition. "I remember. I've seen them," she breathed, her voice trembling. "They were watching. Always." Before Lucas could grasp the enormity of her words, the ground shifted violently again. The chasm yawned wider, the cries of chaos erupting anew. "Get back!" he shouted, pulling Clara and Mauro closer. But as they stumbled away, a massive figure erupted from the shadows of the chasm. It was a man, tall and commanding, his presence overwhelming. "It's time for you to know about your family," he declared, his voice booming over the chaos. For a moment, he seemed to glow with an otherworldly aura. "Lucas, you are destined for greatness. Don't fight it." "Who are you?" Lucas shouted, heart racing. Was this another twist in the mad tapestry of his life? Then the stranger smiled, a twisted grin that sent shivers down Lucas's spine. "I am your grandfather, and I am here to take you home." Gasps reverberated through the crowd, disbelief mingling with terror. Lucas's world shattered, the ground beneath him feeling more unstable than ever. "No, it can't be," his voice cracked. Everything he thought he knew was about to unravel. Would he follow this man into the dark, or fight to break free from the chains of the past? Questions throbbed in his mind, demanding answers as the growing chasm threatened to swallow them all. Would he uncover his true heritage, or would it lead to destruction? Lucas felt the weight of his grandfather's words settle around him like a shroud. "I am your grandfather, and I am here to take you home." Each word felt like a strike of thunder, shaking his very core. The crowd gasped, their confusion spiraling like a wild storm. Lucas could hardly process this revelation, his mind racing through a whirlwind of thoughts. "What do you mean, home?" he shouted, gripping Valeria's hand tighter. The chasm's edge seemed to pulse underfoot, as if it wanted to swallow them all whole. "I don't even know who you are." "I'm here to bring back what was taken from you," the man insisted, stepping into the flickering light. "Our family has been torn apart for too long. We need to unite." But just as Lucas opened his mouth to respond, another violent tremor shook the ground. The chasm gaped wider, pulling everyone toward its dark depths. He stumbled, nearly losing his balance. Clara cried out, her voice barely audible above the cacophony. "Lucas, we have to go, now!" She was practically dragging Mauro behind her. A shadow crossed Lucas's vision, and instinctively he turned, his heart racing. But it wasn't just the churning chaos. It was an overwhelming rush of memories, flashes of laughter, sorrow, betrayal. There was so much more than he realized, more than just a family. As fear gripped his chest, he felt something pull at the fabric of reality itself. Then from behind him came a cry. "Lucas, look out!" He whirled around just as flames erupted from the wreckage of the truck, sending a wave of heat that nearly knocked him down. People screamed, scrambling away. The fire was intense, spreading dangerously close. "Run!" Valeria shouted, pulling him away from the flames. But Lucas felt rooted in place, caught staring into the chaos. Suddenly, everything exploded. The truck erupted in a massive blast. Glass shattered. Debris flew through the air like deadly confetti. Someone screamed. Another explosion shrieked. The crowd turned to a tidal wave of panic, people pushing and shoving to escape the madness. It all felt surreal. In the haze, Lucas spotted a glimmering piece of metal amidst the wreckage, catching the firelight. He narrowed his eyes, curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. "Lucas, come on," Clara urged again, yanking him away. But as they stumbled back, he felt a jolt of realization. "That's the missing locket," he yelled suddenly, recognition washing over him. It had the same design as Clara's necklace. The fire had revealed secrets hidden within the haze. Before he could think, he dashed toward the fiery wreckage, pushing past those who had planted themselves in shock. "Are you insane?" Valeria yelled. But he couldn't stop. He reached for the locket, grasping it just as the ground quaked again. And then everything stopped. With a loud crack, the sky above split open, pulling everyone's eyes upward. A blinding light cascaded down from the heavens, illuminating the scene in a surreal glow. Lucas shielded his eyes. Then it happened. A thunderous voice echoed from above, booming like a great beast awakening. "You thought you knew your past?" it roared, shaking him to his very bones. "But the truth is far more extraordinary than you can fathom." In that moment, everything Lucas believed shattered. A cascade of memories poured into his mind. Dreams he buried deep. Faces of people he had never met. A family he never knew existed. Powerful figures intertwined with shadows. "What is happening?" he shouted, panic clawing at his throat as reality distorted. Clara and Mauro were by his side, but even they looked distant, their faces shifting like reflections in a broken mirror. "Lucas!" Valeria cried, breaking through the noise, her expression a mixture of hope and terror. "You need to remember." "I don't understand," he shouted back, feeling the weight of expectations pressing down. "Remember what?" But before he could comprehend, everything imploded. The bright light expanded, engulfing the scene in a brilliant flash. Just like that, silence fell. When everything settled, Lucas blinked. Where was everyone? Valeria? Clara? Mauro? Panic surged. Was he alone? And just as he took a breath to call out, the silhouette of a woman appeared before him. Familiar yet unsettling. "Nobody told you I was alive, did they?" she murmured, her voice smooth like honey, yet filled with shadows. The very essence of Lucas's past hung between them. Who are you?" he stammered, heart racing. But deep inside, he somehow knew. And just like that, uncertainty flooded back. Was she a guardian, a remnant of a lost past? Or was she something darker? As the pieces fell into place, Lucas faced a question that stilled the air. In the heart of the chaos, would he dare unveil the secrets behind this sudden revelation? Lucas stood there, heart racing in the surreal glow of the flames. The woman's face twisted into a knowing smile, memories swirling around him. "You don't remember me?" she asked softly. But he did, deep down. She was a part of his past, a past he desperately wanted to reclaim. He took a step closer, his breath trembling with emotions he could no longer contain. "Why didn't you come back for me?" he demanded, voice choked. "What happened?" And then, just like that, she transformed. The flickering lights outlined a familiar figure. His mother, Clara, stood there beside him. Tears streamed down her face. "Lucas," she whispered, trembling, "you're here. All my searching led me back to you." Her voice faltered, the weight of lost years hanging thick in the air. Suddenly, everything around them seemed to pause. The chaotic crowd melted into the background, their fears silenced. Lucas felt his heart ache, both from longing and fear. "Mom, I thought I lost you forever. I never gave up," Clara cried, reaching for him. Their hands clasped tightly, bridging the years of separation. "You are not just a part of me. You are made of my pain, my love, my hope." Valeria stood behind them, eyes blazing with determination. "Together, we will break this cycle. We will reclaim our destiny." Lucas looked at her, surprised. She was right. They were all part of this tangled story, woven together by bonds of blood and betrayal. But before he could respond, Javier and Enrique emerged from the smoke, faces grim. "Stop this madness," Javier shouted. trying to assert control over the chaos. But Lucas felt a flicker of defiance rise within him. "No," Lucas roared, turning to face them. "You don't control my life anymore. We will find our own path." The air crackled with intensity, a powerful united front forming before the chaos. The sky darkened, shadows elongating around them. The chasm beneath threatened to swallow them all up once more. "We can stop this," Valeria cried out, voice echoing in the tension. Together, Lucas turned to Clara, then back to Valeria. "We stand together. We fight for the truth." With a sudden surge of strength, they held hands in a circle. Each heartbeat pulsed with shared pain, shared love. The crowd began to murmur, sensing the shift in energy as those around them felt hope igniting, like a flame sparked from the core. "Leave us," Clara shouted at the men, voice firm. "You think you can split us apart? You thought wrong." The tension morphed into a wave of collective defiance. The ground trembled, the chaos surging. Behind them, explosions punctuated the air as fire danced against the darkened sky. But Lucas stood firm. In that moment, a blinding light enveloped them, shooting upward like a beacon. The world around them shimmered, and for a moment, it felt as though time stood still. Then, with one final explosive roar, everything vanished. Lucas blinked. The air felt still. They were in an empty void, just light surrounding them. Clara, Valeria, Moro, his family, stood there confused but united by something stronger. "Is this it?" he breathed, feeling the tension coiling. And then they heard a voice, a deep, resonant sound, echoing like the wind across an endless ocean. "You have chosen your path," it boomed. "Your truth will shape the destiny not just of your family, but for many who have lost their way." As the light dimmed, the figure of his grandfather appeared, a smile on his face. "Together you are unstoppable. Embrace who you are and guide those lost in shadows to their light. Go forth." Just like that, without a farewell, they were thrown back into a familiar landscape, standing on the streets of Mexico City, the sun peeking through the chaos. Everything felt different. Lucas turned to his family, breathless. "What now?" he asked. Clara smiled softly, wiping tears from her cheeks. "We find those lost. We help them." Lucas nodded, finally finding that missing piece of himself. He felt whole again, anchored by family, purpose, and unbreakable bonds. But there was more to uncover, more shadows lurking. They knew this fight had only begun, and as they stepped forward, the horizon brimming with possibilities, he felt a stirring in his heart. Choices lay ahead, a choice of paths, intertwined destinies, a powerful journey waiting just out of reach. His story was far from over. Now, it's your turn. You have to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss out on upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about what happens next. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this ending. Your engagement makes all the difference. Let's embark on this journey together.